and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Two Fat Guys Talking Flowers, where we're always going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly about flowers. I'm Fern. We got Joelle on the ones and two. We got Ryan in the house, Mimi in the house. Michael Black is in the house right now. Oh, my.
Special episode.
And our multi-generational with amazing planting prowess, our Peony Paige guest today is none other than Miss Paige Kennicott, Jaques, sales manager for Kennitcot Kuts.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I love the intro.
Fern, I must say, your voice is getting higher as your weight is going down.
Are you saying my voice is getting squeaky? I'm just excited.
You're up no.
An octave.
No,
An octave.
you went up an octave. Yeah.
So
I guess
I'm losing my Barry White.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yes, he did.
Joel can turn the
know.
button on if we need him to. Don't worry.
I bet if you compare over the last few podcasts, you will hear his voice getting higher.
After the Next Gen podcast, I tried listening to the podcast in 1.8, like some people said they do.
It's fast.
Everybody goes fast except for Fern. So Fern's voice, because he's so chill and mellow, like even on 1.8, it's
He's so
still
stoned, you mean.
chill. Whatever it may be.
You know, it pretty much that's how it
I
goes.
just challenge you to
That's
listen
how
to
it
it at
goes.
1.8, and everybody's voice changes except for Fern's. Fern stays
funny.
chill.
That's funny. I'm going to have
Oh,
to
yeah.
check
Very
that out
hype.
because that's hilarious.
So, Paige, we're counting the minutes. We're waiting. Every time my phone buzzes, I'm jumper to check it because we're waiting for Casey and Michelle's baby to come today. They're in the hospital
Ryan
working
told me,
on
and
it.
I'm so excited for them.
We think it's going to happen during this recording, right?
That would be awesome.
It's gonna happen on the
That would be
podcast.
amazing. If it
That'd be
happened
an
on the
awesome
podcast.
baby
It would be.
Eliza. We're waiting for her.
I love it. I can't wait.
Are we
Oh,
allowed to
so
drop
happy.
the name? Are you allowed to say the name?
Oh.
Is that bad?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
like
People are-
certain
This
people.
won't be out till next week, so
Okay.
we're all right.
We might have to
Yeah.
bleep that. We'll have to say.
But
Oh, is the name a secret?
no.
For some people, it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because
Some
people
people
are weird
don't-
about
About
names. Have
names,
you not heard the
pictures.
blabber team that I have out there?
You guys with the secret names and the gender reveals and all this stuff is just so much.
I don't know how Mike did it. Mike
So much-
used to just find out the day of the birth. You
Yeah.
find out if you.
Yeah, that's the whole
you're
fun
a
of it.
man or
I
Well,
not.
that's
did
not the
that.
whole
They
fun of
called
it.
them at
but
the
that's-
office and let them know
I-
what it was.
I did that though, and it was
No.
it was a very special
Did you?
moment. I did it with my second, and it was amazing. Like, clearly my husband was like, I started crying, but that's just when they give you your child. Like when you're holding your child for the first time, you're just crying, and he was like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't give you a girl. I'm like, no, it's okay. I like boys. But speaking of boys, somebody is having twins.
Twins.
Yep.
Twin
I am
boys.
having twin boys. I have a son. I have a 2.5-year-old. I'm having 2 more twin boys.
Who
So
is
So
so
exciting.
cute on Instagram with when he's checking the peonies and he's
Yeah, I love
Mr.
that.
Ninth Generation.
yes, he's. I did the math. I had to check because everyone always asks me, and I'm like, what am I? I'm like, so I'm 8th, so he's 9th. But yeah, he loves. We like live on one of like
Holy
our
she
fields.
said that
So
so
all the peas are in the
nonchalant.
backyard. So he loves to go back there. Anything that's a tractor, a machine, or anything, he's all about. And he will sit on it, and he wants it on. He knows how to mow with my husband. He'll sit on a Z-mower and he'll
Oh, that's
mow.
There's
He
a
loves
little
everything.
there's a
He's-
little
he's
kid on the
cool.
TikTok.
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? He's a little
He's
farmer
obsessed-
kid.
He's obsessed with tractors.
He's
He
obs-
like-
yeah, he
but
knows everything about the tractors.
Yeah, he knows all the.
He goes to the tractor
Yeah.
shows. He wears like the John Deere hat and the whole
Cute.
thing.
That's
You know the kid
adorable.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about? He's amazing.
I
that
feel like
kid.
I've seen it before. Yeah.
He's the future
Yeah, but
CEO
yeah,
of John
all
Deere, if
boys.
you ask me.
Yeah, he's not gonna
And
stop.
and is
till he's
Wyatt-
dead.
Okay.
Is Wyatt excited about the boys, about the twins? He
He
doesn't-
like
not
he'll
yet?
How
say
can you
baby
not be?
and he goes to my stomach.
No, because they're
I
little.
don't think it's
Logan,
fully there.
Logan asked me he's like, I want a little brother. He's over his sister.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I was
do
excited
it?
that he was going
Huh?
to have 2
You gonna do
boys.
it?
I
Yeah.
think it'll be
Yeah.
good for him.
No,
Yeah.
no more.
He's so
Yeah.
but
I'm a big fan of
he might
like
be a little bit jealous.
a little.
Only for a little while.
Well, you know what? It's gonna be twins, so it's different,
Yeah.
right? Because the twins are like twins
Yeah.
have each other.
Listen, once
you
they
know.
start walking and you baby-proof everything, like from that point on, they start to play with each other and they're like on
no,
autopilot.
my
You don't
cousin
have to
has
worry
twins,
about that.
and it's crazy how the connection is right from birth. Like they hugged within seconds, you know what I mean, of them being put together.
Yeah.
And they have a connection like no other. I mean, the twin connection, like
Yeah.
they can apparently like feel each other's emotions and stuff, and it's crazy.
It is.
Cool.
It's a.
It lasts.
Well, look at
'Cause
and Aunt Sharon when they get
Oh, yeah.
together. It's
Oh, yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah, my wife's a
powers
twin
unite.
also.
Look at you and Mike when you guys get together, the
That's
twin
cool.
factor.
Oh,
Yeah, my
man.
sister-in-laws are twins, and my father-in-law is a twin, and he is a twin.
So it was
He's the fourth
inevitable.
So
generation,
you
but, like,
knew. Yeah, you
It
had
is.
the chances.
Yeah. Well, it was always the joke, but we didn't think it'd happen. And then when they said, "Do twins run in the family?" I just started laughing. I looked at my husband, and I could tell he's like,
Does the female
But,
make
like, my
the
father-in-law-
decision on the twins or the male?
So the doctor did tell me that it's the female, but obviously
Okay.
DNA it has to. But my mom has twin cousins on one side,
Oh.
2 boys, and then she has an uncle that were twins. So my mom did have twins in her family too on both sides. So
But you're from a big
Yeah.
family. So wait, let's get back. Paige, tell us.
Yeah.
How did you get started? Like, you said 8th generation. We all know, but tell us.
Well, I mean, hold on. Have
Yes.
we met anybody else that has 8
8? No.
generations
No.
of
No.
floral
No
lineage?
way.
I mean,
No
wow,
way.
you
That-
literally
you
are royalty right
you
now.
are, yeah. You have the record right now for sure.
And the
Yeah, it's a
fifth is
lot,
still
you know.
working,
Yeah,
right? The fifth is
Red?
still working.
Red is still working.
Yeah,
yep.
he's all of our social
Yeah.
media sensation right now.
Yeah.
Love
As
that man.
the
Let me tell you
he's still
that.
working and he
Really
loves every day.
Those red Kennitcot
Yeah.
videos, I was so happy. I never laughed as hard. I thought that was brilliant. Each one of them are brilliant. You got to
get a
keep
kick.
doing that.
Kudos to Lisa. She's doing a
Yep.
great
Yeah,
job.
I told her at
Yeah.
I had a few tequilas and I told her like more than I should have, but I told her how what a great job she was doing with that. I thought
I really
it was
like her.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like her. She's cool.
We love it. I love when I see them. I'll like share it. Like I'll normally be the first one to see it because I follow all of the Kennitcot locations. So like it pops up on my social media consistently, and I'll send it to my sisters. And I'll be like, "Oh, look at this! And, like, they got Grandpa," and so we all love it.
I
So
love it.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm 8th, so my kids will be 9. And it all started when the Kennitcots moved to the Glenview, Illinois area. And that was with Dr. John in 1836. But his father, John Asa, was actually already there, and they were already established in nurserymen with perennials and everything. So they grew locally. They were also like teachers, they were doctors, they were naturalists. Like it's a historic landmark, so you can go in the old house there, and like they have their one room where like everything's bottled up, like all the insects and animals they studied, floral. Like
Where is
it's-
this at?
It's beautiful.
Where is that?
That's in Glenview, Illinois. So it's like a suburb outside of Chicago. So not far from the outside city of Chicago.
I want
Yeah.
to take a quick pause and just mention 1836 was the year she said, which was the year of the Texas Revolution, of the Battle of the Alamo.
Wow.
The year they invented the Colt revolver.
Holy
The
shit.
year James Madison died.
I can't even go back my history. You know, that's crazy. You don't even need the DNA, Ancestry.com.
I don't know if I have history that long. Like, I'm sure I do, right?
Right.
Everybody does.
That's
but-
like when they
Yeah.
traveled
Who
by
knows?
horse and wagon to the Midwest, to the new lands.
My God, Paige,
Wow.
that is amazing.
I'm
I
watching the
love
Horizon
history
thing on
you have.
TV.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really popping up. Yeah.
So,
So a long time. So yeah, they grew everything locally, and they did all that, and they grew, and they were really passionate about it, and they grew locally, and then eventually, as it went on, so my technical lineage is John Asa, then Dr. John Albert, then Amasa Kennicott, then Harrison Kennicott the first, Harrison Kennicott the second, Harrison Red Kennicott, my grandfather, then my dad Stephen, then myself, and then my kids.
You know, I bumped into
So-
your dad at the
Wow.
airport the other day.
He told me. It was funny because you emailed me. He literally called me. He goes, "Hey, I just bumped into Mike Black."
It's so rare. I went to get a cup
So
of
you both
coffee and
told
he
me
was
within
getting one.
5 to 10 minutes. Yep. So that's our lineage. So they went from selling locally, and then they eventually were selling like on that main road where they resided, and what's the landmark. It was like a really high traffic area of people coming in and out where they sold. And they eventually would go by railway down to the city. And so they actually created like kind of, in quote, one of the first coolers, like on the dry ice with the straw to keep it insulated. to bring it to the city in Chicago and then sell in the city. So I think it was in 1879 is when they kind of started doing that, but they incorporated in 1881. And that's where Kennitcot Brothers, so the wholesale, that's where Kennitcot Brothers Wholesale was incorporated, was in 1881 in Chicago. But the Kennitcot family's always grown. So during this whole time, at one point, the wholesale, that's kind of became the own business. And there's a lot of history with that we still dealt with because they grew. We've always grown. We would bring everything we grew into the wholesale house. And then obviously they had other people that they bought from. But that's kind of how that goes. So we grew, and I want to say in I don't remember the exact, like between 92 and 94, that's where we established Kennitcot Kuts, otherwise we known as Midwest Blooms, for like our company in itself. So, but the Kennitcot family has grown throughout that whole time. We've always brought flowers in, been selling them through the wholesale house. It used to be consignment. Obviously, that's changed over the past 12 to 20 years on how consignment kind of was in the wholesale industry.
That's right.
Yes.
So
a wholesaler in New York.
Everything was on consignment.
No, everything was basically on consignment. You had your growers, and if you were in a market situation, like growers were only shipped to specific people, and the wholesaler had the responsibility to turn that grower's flowers into money, to take his fair commission, whatever that rate was, and give the grower back their return. But wholesalers weren't dumb. I remember my uncle, who would get a certain farm into New York City. He would be calling his friend in Pennsylvania, who also gets it, and calling another guy, maybe even in Chicago. And they would talk to each other. What are you getting in prices? Where are you guys at in prices?
Fixing.
Well, they had to do that because there weren't computers. There weren't like anything else but the telephone. And none of them wanted to lose their position with the grower by giving a lower return. So they kind of spoke to each other and made sure that everybody was getting the right prices and everybody was doing, at least that's what I overheard. I wasn't directly involved in that. I was just fat kid that they made run around.
So what do you think, and around what year did it change to where you started
I think
purchasing?
It changed in the 90s. I think it started changing in the 90s. But yeah, I remember like these guys would be on they'd be on the phone and they say, okay, I'll call you back. And then they'd call another one because there weren't like conference calls and stuff back then.
No, you couldn't do any of that.
Or conferences? They didn't have meetings, like stuff like that?
Not in another city.
Right. Like local.
There was no Zoom. There
Everything
was none
by
of
the
that.
mail.
No, I mean like.
They used to send the consignment reports in the mail, so the grower would get them like a month later.
Wow. Yeah.
Damn.
Then they invented this thing, Joelle, called the fax machine.
Well,
they had the telex machine.
I was going to say, the telex
They
was
had
first.
the telex machine, but you had to be really big and well financed to have cool that stuff. I think a lot of it went by the U.S. mail until the fax
Paige
machine.
is too young for that too. So, Paige, so you went to school, I see. And what made you come? Well, where did you go to school?
So I went to Michigan State University.
Nice.
That's where Red and Katie both went. They met on spring break in Florida on a blind date that Red filled in for when someone bailed out.
No way.
That is so cute.
They both were down there. Yep. So that's how they met, at the Elbow Room in Florida.
Oh, Fort Lauderdale.
And-
Was it during a hurricane by chance?
Yep.
Because they never close.
And then, yep. And they, I think, dated from there. And I think that was maybe their junior year. I think one was ahead of the other one. So I think one was a junior, one was a senior. And I think shortly after that, they got married in August. And Red actually harvested for their wedding. Our farm all the way up in the UP, he harvested the peonies for their wedding and stored them all the way till August, because those would have bloomed like the very end of June, early July, depending on the season.
What's
So he
UP?
harvested all their,
What is UP?
Sorry, I'm like talking like I'm from here. So the UP is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Ah,
So it's like on
okay.
the top of Wisconsin.
The little
Yeah,
glove
the UP.
that they stole from Wisconsin.
Yep. They call it part of Michigan. They, I think, relate more to Wisconsin than probably Michigan with where they're located. But yeah, it's like at the very topmost. It's like overlooks Lake Superior. So you're at the very top of that.
It looks as if Michigan said, "This is my land. I don't care what you say, Wisconsin. You can't have
Yep.
this.
I'm keeping that
I'm
little.
keeping that little piece."
Yep.
Wow, how
Yep.
romantic.
So Yeah, but they went there. My grandma's from East Lansing, where Michigan State is. So like I've always just only known of Michigan State, like because that's who we cheered for. Like I grew up in Wisconsin. I was born in Germany when my dad was in the army. Lived in Illinois for a few years because that's where both my mom and dad are from. And then we moved to Wisconsin when my dad was working at Kennitcot Brothers, and that's when they were. He was working between the Waukegan branch and the Milwaukee branch, kind of doing both because they were opening the Milwaukee branch. So where we lived in Kenosha was just over the border. So he was going to school full time because he was back from the army, and he was working at Waukegan and Milwaukee. So that was kind of halfway point. So I've grown up in Wisconsin. So everyone's always like, "Oh, why didn't you go to like Wisconsin?" Or I'm like, I didn't even know what Wisconsin was. Like I've only known Michigan State because that's all my family talks about. So that's why I went there. And I studied business, and I got just like my general management and business because I had asked my dad and Red, and they say, we know enough people and we have enough connections where I can send you wherever in the floral industry to learn things, whether it's at the grower level, the wholesale level. And they did that. And I did take a few hort classes at Michigan State, but they're like, I want you to know how to run a business and the background of all that, to understand, everything going on.
So since college, you were almost groomed.
I graduated in 2013.
Paige, since college, you were almost groomed to, and it was planned.
Was it? But was it like?
That's awesome.
Was this planned from like when you were a kid? Like you're gonna grow up. You're a Kennitcot. You grow up and you work in flowers.
Yeah.
Or was it a passion?
Do your siblings work in the flower industry?
So one of my sisters is, but she's not in ours. She works for a company called Flowers for Dreams.
Oh, and, I love
they do
that company.
weddings.
Why?
Because
she does a lot of their
they give back to the community. So Flowers for Dreams has a beautiful location in Chicago. I used to sell them Arrive Alive, and I actually donated to them because they had such a wonderful cause. So they give to a percentage of a different organization based off of their employees. Like, so the employees choose the different organizations. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but
yeah, there's like somewhere in there like a voting thing. They have a bunch of charities, but it's all based on sales. A certain profit goes to every month.
They help a lot. And if
cause.
you go in, it legit looks like a young, fun place to work. Like it's just you feel good vibes. It's very Jet Freshy vibes too. Like, like you feel like you're part of the team, and they have great.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And the owners, Stephen and Joe, are really cool, and they're good customers of Kennitcot. So we sell to them. But yeah, my sister works for them in like, kind of like the wedding and event area. Not that she doesn't do all that stuff. She's more on the back end, like the recipes. What are we putting in for what we're going to need, and how much are we going to buy then? So she does that aspect. She's like the manager of all the salespeople in that. So, or one of them. So, and then my youngest sister is actually a freshman right now at Michigan State. So we're 15 years apart. So I'm the oldest, she's the youngest. And then my other sister, they've all worked for me at some point at the farm, and my dad. But no one currently. I'm just the only one that works at Kennitcot Kuts right now.
So great question then. Was it seeing your grandfather and your family's passion? Because I mean, number one, that story is the cutest thing ever. Sell it to Lifetime. Let's get a flower movie out there.
No, we need to take Red back to Elbow Room. I want to see what it's like.
Have they ever gone back together to the Elbow Room again?
Yeah, they have.
It's a barn for life.
Like on anniversaries and stuff.
I know they have.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's awesome.
I think I would like to take your mother back to the bar where we first met, but I think it's a bagel store now.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Yeah, get a good bagel.
Yeah,
she loves bagels.
Go bring a drink in, have a bagel. No, I mean, I feel we always grew up in the industry. Like I remember from my dad working down there, and then even visiting, like with bringing cuts in or just going down to visit. I'd be at the old wholesale house, and I remember it always, obviously, a lot of that time would be after hours. I would run around, and that's when they had like all the colored sticker for each of the branches. I'm like tagging it because Chicago was like a lot of the main hub. I would like throw that roll, and I'd be attaching them all to myself. So I remember being there in that sense. And then when my dad, he'd bring us to the farm when they were growing, sometimes we would just be hanging out with like the manager's kids or like me and my sisters. Sometimes he'd have us plant, but he'd always joke. He goes, I could always tell when you guys plant, I would even put a string out there for a straight line. And you guys are always crooked. I don't know how. We're around it. But he always said he didn't want to like push it on us. So he definitely brought us around. There was times where we had to go there no matter what, if we were with him and my mom didn't have us. But I mean, they all grew up from a young age, like if you had something to work off because you broke something and you needed to pay for it, you were working at the wholesale house. Oh, you didn't go on spring break because you were working at the wholesale house. They were in it, and not in like a forceful way where they hated it, but they grew up in it. But I mean, Red was there. It still is 6 days a week most of the time, maybe 5, all day. He went in, he'd leave, I think at like they lived in the suburb in Barrington, outside of Chicago. So I think they left at like, I don't know whether it was 2:30 or 3:30 in the morning to get in there because he was probably one of the first people there, and he was there the whole entire day. So, if you went to work with Red, you were there the whole day. You weren't leaving.
There was no early lunch.
Experience. No. So yeah, he said, I wanted it to be your decision. So he did bring us around, but it was never forced upon us. And we had definitely been there during the time where I'd see the wholesale house, but not in like where I ever worked there full time or anything like that. So it was my decision. And everyone would ask, and I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I used to be like, oh, I kind of want to be a teacher, but I think that's because I liked playing teacher growing up, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I was like, I think I'm going to work at the farm. And I would work some summers during our busy time, but that's when we were still growing. And then I remember saying to my dad, like after high school, I was like, I want to work at the farm this summer. And he said, okay, sounds good. And that was my summer. And every summer in college, and when I was needed in between when I was home, and then right when I finished college full time from there. And that's when I was working at the farm. So I was doing more like I was cutting the flowers, I was processing, I was packing, I was doing all that at that level. And then in end of 2017, early 2018 is when I started doing the sales.
But that gave you a leg up in sales. The fact that you were doing all those other jobs gave you a leg up in sales because you could talk like you know what you're talking about,
Yeah, because I know that whole aspect. Then kind of getting in. Yeah, and then getting in sales, even that, there was, adjustment periods where like I wasn't realizing, and Red would have me visit the wholesale house. I did a few days where like I was seeing stuff coming in and then processing. So I'm seeing, okay, how are other people bringing stuff in where I could improve? Because like I said, we used to bring everything in consignment, and they just kind of sold our stuff at, whatever fair price. But they buy from, and not in a bad way, they buy from my competitors who are doing the same thing. So they might not buy my stuff. They buy my competitors, which is fine. That's how our relationship has changed over the years, as Kennitcot's has. It used to be family owned. It became ESOP. I forgot when. So, that we definitely went through a transition period there of like, how are we going to better sell? Because we could just bring it in buckets. It didn't matter how much we had and bring it in. Now I have to really think about like, okay, what are we doing? Are we going to cut the whole, hydrangea? We can have a lot. And when we first started, I'm like, we used to cut everything, but then we weren't selling it all with just how that kind of shifted. I'm like, why are we cutting everything? We're wasting all this labor and time. We really got to start developing, these sales and these relationships to have an avenue to move these through where we're getting sales. So I've kind of learned that through my stuff because I used to just cut, but that's how it kind of shifted during that time period of purely consignment and then kind of going about that. So it's been a learning curve, that's for
sure.
When
it's consignment, you just ship it out. You just send it, you cut it, you ship it.
You cut it.
But when you're selling it, people are more careful what they buy. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we didn't have the sale kind of aspect, it was just there. So it's definitely shifted, and it's been a learning curve in a good way, but that's also with us growing. I mean, we used to be a lot smaller. Like I think when we first moved where I lived, the farm that I live on now, my dad had just bought that. And so that was obviously growing, and he didn't even have the cooler or like the building there. He had like a reefer trailer that he'd put it all in for peonies. And it was kind of him and maybe 1 or 2 other guys cutting the peonies at that time because it wasn't that many. And, bringing that in. Well, now obviously we have a ton of acres at peonies.
How many acres?
So it's definitely expanded over time.
How many acres of peonies do you have in the U.S.?
Oh, boy. Arkansas, I know at one point was like 50 or 60 alone, and that's for Mother's Day. Then we have Illinois here, another one in Wisconsin, the UP. I want to say here we probably have about 10 to 20. It kind of shifts because we also are doing root production. Like we do our own root production. So if we need roots, we'll grow them and divide them for like all of our farms. And then we've recently got into like selling roots to try to make that like a division and another source of income.
How many products is Kennitcot Kuts growing right now?
I don't have a number, but We're
Mucho.
completely field grown. Like everything, yes, everything is field grown, cut flower, mainly perennials that are natural to our area. So
You have curly
lilacs,
willow,
Pussy willow.
yeah, all that.
yeah, curly willow, pussy willow, dogwood. We do a little bit of flowering dogwood, peonies, hydrangea. We do winterberry, and then we do sunflowers is our annual. We've done allium now the past 5 or 6 years maybe. And then in the past few years, we've really gotten into dahlias. Like the past 2 years, I think we've really expanded. So just kind of finding our niche of like certain things that are going to help us, especially in down times from like our big season. Like peonies is really big from like the lilac viburnum and peonies is a really big season from March to June between Arkansas, Illinois, and our Wisconsin farms, and then our Michigan farm too. And then sunflowers is obviously big during the summer, but wholesale that can go, it's slow during that time, that July, August, it just is. And then dogwood is obviously very busy in November because everyone wants it like 2 weeks before you're even able to harvest it.
Right.
So that gets big. And then our Chilean peony season is during that time too, November and December.
So are we looking at October?
Really
is there going to be any peonies from Chile in October? Because I'm getting some emails from some Chilean growers.
There are peonies. Our location, like our partnership that we work with, we don't have any from that time.
You're further south?
There's been a few farms that I've worked with bringing them in. Yeah. Ours are normally like mid-November is our first shipment. So they're starting to bloom at that beginning of November, the first few early varieties here and there, but like by mid-November, we have our first shipment, which is mostly reds, and then a few like festiva. And then that goes through early to mid-December, depending on the year. So we have them throughout December. But I have bought from a few other farms when needed for customers who want stuff.
It seems like there's some small peony growers in Chile that are looking to break out on their own, and they don't want to, whoever they were working with before is not.
There's a lot of small growers. It's just getting it to where it needs to go to get it transferred.
Yeah.
And that's what like the grower we are partners with down there, they grow a ton of stuff. They grow a lot, and they've worked with small ones where they get that because they have the transportation of getting it to where it needs to go with theirs. So
yeah,
that's part of funneled into theirs. So
I think they need.
We've tried a few growers. Who we work with is amazing.
Yeah, and you also park inventory in Miami from your farm in the U.S. and from Chile.
Yeah, definitely. From Chile, everything goes out of Miami. I will bring stuff up here as needed because sometimes like those local stores, they're like, hey, can I get a box of reds tomorrow? So I do that more towards holiday time where they're like, hey, do you have this for tomorrow? And then we do some fulfillment out of here for some of our fulfillment customers. So we bring that up, but pretty much Chile, the Chilean, everything is out of Miami, which works because obviously that's our greatest hub. The US, we do go down to Miami, but is only during our busiest season, normally just Mother's Day, just due to costs. And that's our biggest challenge of where we're located. Arkansas, obviously I can get to Miami easy. There's a lot of pathways going that from California to Florida. When it comes to Wisconsin, in a sense, and in Illinois and all of our farms, we grow a lot overall, but it's spread out through the time. So in a sense, it's small. So like, I don't have a full truckload to go down. So that's our biggest challenge. Like if there were a reliable refrigerated LTL going down regularly, I'd be smooth sailing. I mean, I can always fly it, but that's obviously, that's a price. You got to add that on. So then just have it down in Miami to sell. So that's, I think, our biggest challenge. It has been our biggest challenge, and it probably will be for a bit until we see that really change where it's going to be something consistent to get it down there.
Wow. But I saw your dogwood and stuff on your availability here in Miami.
Yeah, no, we do. We've shipped like our dogwood and our willows down to Miami because those are in our winter months too. So I do LTL, but I also can, or refrigerated, but I also can do my reliable regular LTL that'll get it down there quickly in like a day to two period.
It's in bud, it doesn't matter.
And willow.
Yeah,
willow can handle it. It's essentially a stick that you cut from the from the tree. There's no flower or anything. So
wait, did it happen?
Is there? born?
It didn't happen because Jet just barked. Is that me?
She's 4 to 5 centimeters
Oh.
dilated.
Yeah,
my
I told
gosh.
him it's not. The
Okay.
action starts at 7.
Contractions
Wait, I was
have
about to say
started.
Jet knew she was born.
Mike's a pro. Mike knows
No,
what's up.
the action
Don't
starts
bother
at
me
7.
until 7.
7 centimeters, then
You guys
start.
are just
letting-
grinded. I thought he was about to like
I
Yeah.
thought he
take
was
a
going to
swing
announce
for
it.
the.
Oh, wow.
My phone,
funny.
He had us
I
there.
get messages on my phone pretty much starting at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Depends on where my suppliers are contacting me from,
It's the
without
Dutch
any
guys.
conception that I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
So like my wife has this thing with like, this freaking phone, it just doesn't stop banging. But I usually don't get up when I hear them because I think there are like vendors trying to tell me something, and I'll just deal with it at 5 a.m. when I wake up. But last night I was up at every ding because I thought it was something with the
Aw.
baby.
Yep.
So excited.
Proud
yeah.
grandpa.
Yeah, I do. I'm excited.
Paige, which is your favorite product of all the items you grow?
I mean, peonies,
That's a
obviously.
question.
Peony
Yeah.
Paige. Peony Paige.
So many. There's so many. I love peonies. If I had to not pick peonies, probably dahlias. I've grown to love dahlias, and it's new for us, but they're really pretty. I mean, we've really learned how we're like, even this year, I feel like we've had major changes on how we grow them, because where we grow in our soil, we don't have to water anything.
What's
like
your
our
zone? What's that
soil,
zone that you have the dahlias at?
5. I
Okay.
think we're in 5.
Yeah.
But we did start watering our dahlias over the past 2 years because we just found they grow a lot better. They get taller and all that. But with everything else, like we don't have to water anything. All our perennials. I mean, we've had drier years, and that obviously can affect your crop. But like how we're set up, it's very different. Like when I go to a lot of conferences and I visit like California growers and a lot of like those growers, it's so cool to see, but I really have to apply that to like, how's
Your
that
area,
for
yeah.
my type of growing?
Mhm.
We grow completely different. We don't deal with a lot of those issues. So it's a different type of growing. But just, I mean, we get natural rainfall and we get all that. So there are drier years where like, hey, we had a drier year. Dogwood may not be as tall because we didn't have that much rain. So that affected the height of the dogwood. So we've had that. And same with the weather, cooler years. If you get cooler years, especially in the spring, you're going to get some taller, nice, bigger headed peonies, because they've had that time to grow and really kind of fatten up. And then obviously we're susceptible to frost because we're completely open field.
Right.
And we feel that every year somewhere, if not all the farms at some point.
Have you
So,
been challenged with
frost damage-
climate change? Do you feel any challenges directly from climate change, or from things that you want to blame on climate change?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think over the past recent years, like frost, especially in peonies, has been like a real thing. Our Arkansas farm, the past 2 years, we had like a real hit with some frost damage, like heavy amount, where we still had peonies, but I mean, we're talking about a massive loss.
Wow.
And that's been
I'm
very
sorry to hear
challenging,
that.
especially when you're doing all your pre-sales and that's Mother's
Yeah.
Day. So
Yeah.
it's
I think
fun for
growers
me.
of
'Cause then I get to tell the customer.
growers worldwide are like
Yeah,
having
the
these
challenges.
unexpected
Mhm.
challenges, things that they have to
Random freezes,
Yeah.
Well, we're currently right now
Yeah.
the size
Just
of the
like
storm
months
we
of
have
rain
in,
and then months
in
of drought.
Early October. That's crazy.
So let's talk about that storm. That storm in 24 hours went from a depression to a Category 4
Yeah.
hurricane before it hit the peninsula right there in Florida.
And so many of our
The water is historic high
Yeah.
temperature. It's 3 degrees higher than the average.
It's crazy.
And
Yeah.
you just, what's 3 degrees? I guess it's a lot when it comes to a hurricane picking up energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's affecting so many people. It's not we're just not
Yeah.
we're not only thinking about Florida. Now we're thinking Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. We're looking at so many states
Yeah.
that are being affected. I mean,
We
all
had
of our-
it in upstate New York, a tropical
Yeah, I
storm.
remember.
From the last
the roads were washed out. I mean, there was more rain than they've ever had before.
because they're getting stronger and stronger because of all of the water temperatures and everything. So yeah, it's
So
crazy.
I just saw something on social media, and it's showing that there's going to be 3 storms in a row coming
Okay, that's
from that
not-
same area. It's crazy.
Good energy, good energy, good energy.
It's crazy. It's wild. The weather, the changes in the weather are crazy.
I know.
And we hear that, especially, Paige is growing a beautiful crop, but it's an outside crop.
Well,
it's
I have
not
to say,
really,
Paige,
there's
I
no
have
protector.
to it must be fun for you because, and it's also challenging because you have to plan so much because you're not just growing one product. So, I mean, to me, I think it would be fun that you have a different product every time, but every product has a different logistic issue. Every product has a different, growing method or cultivation, like cutting, everything. So it's just it's basically like you're doing tons of different, the season for you is different every time.
Yeah. It's completely seasonal because nothing's year round for us.
Yeah.
At all. So some people ask me, I'm like, oh no, that's we grow that. It happens during this time. It's not like, rose growers, they have roses year round.
All
Obviously
year round.
it might vary by brand, but they carry them year round. No, nothing is year round for us. So yeah, we're constantly changing from one season to another with what's happening. And that's why all the farms are where they are. Because we do kind of, when we hit lilac, we have we have a small crop, Arkansas, then it goes and it hits Illinois, then it hits Wisconsin, and then it hits the UP. So we have them for essentially a 2-month period. And that's kind of why those were planned throughout. Then from lilac, it goes on viburnum, and then the peonies. It kind of follows that same route.
As the sales
so we have
manager,
that block.
As the sales manager for Kennitcot Kuts, how involved are you in the planning of the crops?
I feel like that's more
in all the different locations.
because the locations, not at all. That's up to Steve and my dad, Steve and Red, because that's their investment where they want to go. And they've done a lot of research in that. We haven't bought necessarily a new farm in a while with the planning, but the other thing, everything we grow, minus the sunflowers, the dahlias, and the allium that you're buying, the seed or the bulb, year to year, you can buy new ones. Everything is a perennial. So if you're, people are like, oh, hey, a lot of people, we've started, we're getting ready to do blueberry, dentatum viburnum. And I've heard a lot of people asking that, but I don't just go plant it and I'll have it next year. Unless you've got a crap load of money and you're just buying a full established plant and at the rate you would a wholesale to have a ton, you're not doing that. You're buying a seedling, you're doing your own cuttings,
You're waiting 10 years.
You're not cutting for a few years.
How many years? 10
Peonies
years
alone.
Yeah.
When I plant a peony root, we're not cutting on it till the 3rd year. And you may not even cut, depending on the variety and where it's at, you may not even cut on it that year. You may finally get your first bloom, or you might get one cut. And then so it's really not till for peony varieties year 5 or 7 where you're actually getting a good cut. So you just have all those years where you're planting them. So if I want to dig and divide that, I'm digging and divide it, but I'm not cutting on that until 3 years from now.
And now that
so it's real planning. So people, why don't you get this? I'm like, okay, well, if it is something we really like, we can look into it. But yeah, that's going to be a few year
and now
thing
that you're
coming
selling
about.
The root, are you selling the root to other growers, or are you selling the root to to people who want to grow peonies?
We supply our own farms because certain farms and locations, there's certain varieties that just do better with the climate that they have and everything. So we do that. And then we have one company that is they sell roots through a big retail market, like a Costco. And we sell roots to them. So that's just been recent, last few years.
That's fun.
So that's another way to diversify, because there's been certain stuff we grow that's beautiful, but it just doesn't really work for us and with what comes about. So we've kind of really been focusing on those diversifications in the time of the year as far as business and bringing in money and, how to do better as a whole.
Yeah.
Man.
Guess who's visiting
Paige.
Kennitcot, Chicago in a couple of weeks?
Who, you?
Me.
Can I go with
my
you?
first trip. I've never been there.
I want to go to the Katie Kennitcott Center, the education center, when they open.
Yes.
When is the
opening?
opening?
I didn't know that was happening until they posted. No, I don't know. I didn't even know it was happening until they posted that.
What is that?
And I was reading it and I was teared up immediately.
Katie is her
my
grandma.
Really big. Yeah. She's really, my grandma and my grandfather were huge on education, period. But my grandma was very big on women in the education and in the floral industry in general. So it's part of the Kennitcot Chicago location. And it's a women education center. I don't know too much more about that though, in regards. I can check with Lisa or
Oh, well, let me know,
because
I really want to go. I think that's such a fun project. Like I think
I'm pretty sure it's just at Kennitcot, Chicago, in one of those rooms. So
it
if you're
is, but I
visiting,
think that they're having a education session. I want to go.
Yeah.
So go for it.
Yeah.
So I'll find out for you.
Wait, Amy just tried to bring Mike the CBD
that's what I was
THC soda that I bought for Celine. So I was like, no, don't give that to Mike. Please don't give that to Mike.
No, I had sent her a text asking me to bring me my grape drink from my cooler.
I should probably take that out of the refrigerator. I bought it for Celine for her birthday, and I'm like, wait a second.
You just got a CBD.
Well, CBD doesn't get you stoned.
Well, I got
I'm just saying it was funny that there's just one sitting in the fridge.
But it has like, it's beautiful. It's purple, and the reason I bought it for her, it's called Flower Child, whatever. Like, so it's just like, I thought, the flowers, and she likes those kind of. I mean, it probably does nothing, but I don't know. I think if I'm not mistaken, there was something inside there. So I got excied. I got worried.
You don't want to take the risk. Yeah.
I'm like, please don't give that to Mike. I don't want it to come back to me.
Don't blame you.
So you live on a farm, right? You live on one of the lands?
Yes.
All right. Aside from where you live, what's your favorite farm to go to?
Oh, God, that's hard.
Knott's Berry.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Knott's Berry Farm.
Knott's Berry. I love
when
that.
did the cinnamon rolls come back?
October.
No, that Knott's Berry Farm in California.
Oh, the big one.
That has rides and stuff for the kids.
Now, I visited when I was at Next Gen. We visited, what was it, that Milano and Kendall. Those are both beautiful.
Wow, yeah.
I've seen a little bit of Drama Nectar when I've been there. That was quite a few years ago, probably like almost 10. But Holland America is beautiful.
Your farms aren't as like hilly though as those places in California were, or yours are? Yeah.
No, she's living in the plains. It's the plains
that's what I figured.
There. Is the Waukegan location?
Not completely flat, but yeah.
Is the Waukegan location still open?
Yes, So the Waukegan moved. They were open for a long time, and I want to say within the past 8 to 10 years, they moved to Northbrook, which was just more south. And I know Kennitcot's, they've got, at one point it was like 17 branches, I think. I think now it might be 14 or 15. I'd really have to count to do it. And then Northbrook, and there's the Elk Grove location, which is, Elk Grove is right outside of O'Hare, basically. They shared a lot of the same customer base, so they made the decision of just, with having all the stores, Northbrook and Elk Grove merged. So it's just Elk Grove. And then you have the Milwaukee one. So Milwaukee kind of covers Wisconsin, that lower half. And I know Elk Grove kind of goes up to them. But the Waukegan location, Red first opened. He's the one who opened that, and he managed that when they opened Waukegan. And so my dad worked there, and then my dad helped open the Milwaukee branch when they were opening that.
That's where I was. I was raised up there. I was raised in Waukegan, a little bit in Zion. I lived some time in the city. I got to go to the when I became an adult, I started in flowers. I went to the Waukegan location, visiting my family. I was like, I gotta go. I'm here. So I thought that was cool.
Yep. That's cool. Yeah, no, I've been to the Waukegan location before they moved it, like obviously quite a bit when I was a child, but as I remember now, I have. So
Paige, I would love you to speak on working with a family business. Any goods or bads, ins and outs of that?
It ain't easy to work for your dad.
Both. Both. Obviously it's fun in the aspect of like you have that closeness because you're just working together. So my sisters, I think we're all close with my dad, but they might say something. I'm like, well, I work with him I see him every day, basically.
I'm the favorite.
Unless he's out of town. And obviously, just a little bit. Red, I have a great relationship with.
I love seeing you guys together. It's so cute. When you were down here, you were like, I'm gonna go dinner with my granddad. I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
I know. I love to spend time with him. There's definitely challenges with butting heads, or we're doing different things. Like I'm dealing with the sales aspect and what's happening. He's alone with the flowers. He has another business. So sometimes when I'm asking him questions, and I could just tell, like, not that he doesn't have the time for it or like doesn't want to talk about it, but he's doing something. I can tell he gets frustrated. Like I get frustrated because I'm like, well, I need an answer now. I can't have an answer tomorrow on this, so, or, how things are getting done. But that's stuff we've worked on, I feel like, year to year. But I think, as you guys probably know, you're always going to have that, like a something that probably drives you nuts about the other one, and you do stuff that drives them nuts about you. So, yeah, but I feel like we get over that quick. There's never a hostility or a resentment. We just know we're both stressed, especially during high season time. Like peony time is the most stress because there's just so much going on all aspects, and it's warm.
Big volume, big dollars.
When are the twins born?
Yeah.
What season is that? I want to know.
Okay, well, you guys, this is where people always laugh at me when I say the due date because my son was due about the same time. So the twins are supposed to be due February 7th. People are always like,
God.
Oh. But with what we grow, I am not busy during Valentine's Day. We're only in willow season. So basically from like the second week of January through Valentine's Day, no one talks to me. Like here and there, someone's like, oh, hey, can I get a case of pussy willow? We do have forsythia, so sometimes people might buy that. But everyone's so focused on Valentine's Day. Like I'll be like, hey, need anything? Nope, we're good. So there's not too much going on as far as sales during that time because everyone's just very focused on Valentine's Day. It's very easy. So for me, it was the perfect time. My son was born January 28th, my first son. And so like I came back right when we were gearing up everything for like all the spring stuff, getting ready for Peonies. So it was the perfect time. So that was the plan this time. And they are due February 7th, but with the twins and the type of twins they don't want me to go past 34 weeks, which would be Christmas. And there's the potential of having them like early, like
New Year's babies.
26, 27. So that would be like actually more towards Thanksgiving. So I don't know. We're hoping we can keep them as far towards that Christmas time, but we'll see. So I'm just trying to prep all my stuff for my busy November season.
I'm sure.
To be ready for
Paige, my son Connor was born on
when I'm in the hospital.
My son Connor was born on May 5th, which was extremely inconvenient because I was in the bouquet business at that time.
Oh yeah, that's not good.
So I dropped him off at the hospital. I dropped my wife off at the hospital. And I gave the nurse my business card, and I said, when she's 7 centimeters dilated, give me a call and I'll come back.
That's crazy.
I had orders.
I would have got shot
I had orders.
if I did that.
I had orders.
My youngest sister, who's 15 years younger than me, so she was born when I was a freshman in high school. So the farm we live on, my dad had just bought that like the 2 years before. So we had peonies there, but like I said, it was small. So he was doing a lot of it himself, maybe had a worker or two when that farm was just getting established. And she was born June 2nd, which is like dead, like our peony season here at our farm up here. And I'm like, how did that work out? Like, you had to have been so busy doing it all by yourself, even though it was smaller, but it was only you and then mom. And so like her birthday's always during that season. My sister's always graduated like during our peony season. Like I didn't go to my other two sisters' graduations. I couldn't go to like one of their dinners because we were like the middle of warm weather, everything popping off. I'm like, I will see you later. So that's the only one like really born during like a full season of something.
Well, that's good.
But you blow me away because, I mean, Wyatt's young and you handle everything and even the stress, like you're just so like chill about it. So kudos to you. I know it's not easy, especially with young kids. So I know that you're going to kick ass continuously, even when the twins are around. But it's amazing to see you. When you speak about, you and Mike were talking at the Next Gen in California, I think it was there, and he was asking you something, and you just knew your numbers right away. You were just like bum 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 bum, and I'm like, oh, how do you keep all of that going? You know what I mean? Like that's amazing. So you really inspire. That's what I want to say. You as a
I don't feel that way, but I appreciate you.
I think you need to hear it. It's really good that you really should pat yourself on the back because you're doing a great job. It's true.
Kudos,
Sorry.
kudos. You really do
I think
know
she's
your
one of the
stuff.
real badasses in the flower industry, and I just wanted to say
Peony
that.
Page, yo.
Yeah.
Put
Yo.
some respect on a name.
Yeah, yo.
Yo.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask: is there like a recluse random Kennitcot that doesn't do any flowers or anything like that? Is there like the one everybody,
The black sheep.
the black sheep of the family that's like a politician or something
No,
weird?
No, I mean, my dad's one of 5 siblings. They've all worked for Kennitcot Brothers at some point, some for longer times than others. My dad is the only one of his siblings involved. And him and Red are the sole owners of Kennitcot, like the farms, Kennitcot Kuts, which is separate from Kennitcot Brothers. Some people get confused. We're just a vendor. We obviously have the family relationship. So there's a tight relationship, but we're separate entities.
Were they always separate, or
and
is it when
then
they became employee owned that it was separate?
No, it was always separate in the sense of what we did. Like the family always grew, but like I said, that back then it was consignment. We just brought it in. But when we like established Kennitcot Kuts and that, even though we did consignment, like they're separate. They're not like a sister company or anything like that. We're a sister company in the sense we have the relation, but we're not like what you define a sister company as. So yeah, we're separate. We just have that tight relationship with the family name. And then my sisters all worked for me at some point, some longer than others. So they just like one or two of them, like they just do not like working at the farm. Not that they don't like flowers or the industry or anything. They're just like, I am not meant to like be cutting and bunching. I hate it.
The little one's just a freshman. You never know. It's going to happen.
Yes. But I'm the only one. So I'm the only one of my sisters, and my dad is the only one of his that's involved in the industry. So, but yeah, I think at some point, not all of us cousins, but like most of us at some point probably worked, whether it was at the farm, cutting, harvesting, driving, or even I know a few of my cousins worked at Kennitcot Brothers, like driving and delivery and whatnot. So,
how many cousins do you have?
But yeah, we're the only ones involved. Oh God, we just did the math at SAF. So I am one of 15 cousins of Red and Katie.
Oh my gosh.
Or grandchildren of Red and Katie. And then there are, let's see, oh Jesus. I don't know, there's like, I think it's like 9 grandchildren or great-grandchildren, and there's 1 great-grandchild.
I sent that TikTok video to Mike because I love those videos where you see where you see how the family, like we were 2 and then we became 4 and then we became 10 and then we became I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of us. So there's definitely a lot of us, and it's only expanding. Like my sister's about to have a baby. I'm having 2. My other cousin's pregnant, so that's why I said I think it's like 9 or 10 great grandkids for Red.
There'll be more. There'll be some of those great grandchildren that is going to enter the flower industry for sure. Somebody, a few of them.
Wyatt loves them already.
I hope so.
The odds are strong for that.
9th generation's got to get going.
Love that.
That's
awesome.
Strong for that.
Yeah. With a history since 1836, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll have him picking peonies as soon as he can. It won't hurt them.
Yeah.
So
right now, I got to make sure he doesn't damage them.
Now you're gonna understand why your dad said that line was not straight. How it was so important.
Oh.
Yes, exactly.
Isn't that why they have daylight savings so the kids can come home from school and work on the farm after?
That's what it was for.
Yes, it is.
That's
original. No, that was
not afterwards. It was like before school.
No. There was like 4 different Mythbusters. I saw that show Mythbusters, and that was one of them. I'll tell you now what it was for daylight savings. That is one of the reasons. It's one of the many reasons that it was. But yeah,
kids had to come home and help cut the peonies.
Stop daylight savings.
I think working on a farm gives you so many like strong characteristics for yourself. You know what I mean? So I think that's beautiful.
And back pain.
Well, make sure Wyatt
chiropractor will thank you in the future.
Oh my God, can you imagine baby
That shit ain't
Wyatt like
easy.
getting a massage after he's got all the peonies? That's so cute. Like that's a funny video.
Hard work again.
Do we get any bad? You got to give us some bad, Paige. There's got to be a little bit of bad.
Of what, the industry?
Industry, the job, anything. There's always a little bad out there.
I think the biggest, obviously, especially working at the farm, like the time, like there's times when you're at the farm and stuff needs to be cut and, you just haven't, and when you have that level and you haven't finished your day, you're like, I'm here till it's getting done. And, there's plenty of stuff like, oh, this sunflower planting started early, all my, like when I was younger, especially right out of college or even in college, everyone's like, oh, we're going to do this, this Saturday. And I'm like, yeah, I can't because this crop is blooming and we need to get harvested.
We do miss a whole lot of shit being in the flower business.
Yeah,
we miss a whole lot of stuff. And that's
I missed Mardi Gras.
That's the hardest thing I think that we have to deal with in the flower business is like you don't have holidays, you gotta work Sundays, you got there's always something that has to happen, but at the same time I think it could be very rewarding to make those sacrifices, but it's not for everybody. Oh
yeah, it is rewarding. I feel like with the farm and sales, I definitely I have a little bit better schedule than I did when I was at the farm. But I mean, not right now, pregnant, but there's when we're in peony season and we're busy, I'll be here doing sales and I'll be running out to the farm with my dad. We might have like select varieties we're cutting because they're newer and high end, cutting those, answering calls while people are calling me. I'm like, shoot me an email. I'm getting back to the office. I'll confirm with you then. So, it's a lot of back and forth, but I will say since being a mother, and that's, I think, my biggest challenge, not that fathers don't do it, but in general, that's put on the mother more. I mean, my husband works full time too. He works he works like for energy. They drill in gas and electric. So with his company, he doesn't ever have a set schedule. He could have a short day or a long day. So, okay, I got to get Wyatt dropped off. I got to go get him picked up. He's coming with me, or do I got to bring him from there or there?
We have to give severe instructions, right?
With younger kids, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard, because you want to have that balance. You don't want to just have them somewhere you're trying to. So I think that's been my biggest challenge in the few years of finding that balance.
Okay, so fact check. Daylight savings started in 1918 because to help conserve fuel and power during World War I. It was originally for here, because actually it started in Germany. Germany was the first to introduce.
Yeah, but parents who own farms, they used it so their kids come home and help them work.
Absolutely. No, I think that's one of the pros that came out of it, that they realized that it was better that way too. That was just my fact check for the day.
I like that.
All right, we're no longer in World War One.
Yeah,
so we can go back.
We're about to go to World War III, actually.
Yeah, I know. There's never been so much stuff going on in the world right now. It's crazy.
The world needs more flowers. I
agree.
Bottom line.
People need happiness.
I agree.
They need more
They
peonies
do. I
from
agree.
Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please.
All right.
Flame peony season coming up.
I think.
And there's a video about the Kennitcot history somewhere, right? Did I see that on somewhere?
Well, they had if you go on YouTube, you can watch the LTK award video as well for Red. And it gives you a lot of history.
Yeah, there's been a few I've seen. Yeah, they're on there. And there's, I don't know, I don't think you can buy it, but I know Red had like a book made to actually. It's on Kennitcot Brothers.
Oh my
He had this made, I think it was
awesome.
for the 140th anniversary. I think they gave it to like all employees. So like obviously as a family we have it. It's like the history of Kennitcot Brothers and like how it all developed in that. And then he and my grandma made it's like a really big book on just our family and the Kennitcot family. So like that's our aspect, all of us in it.
How fun.
We need
so
a flower movie, and who better than the story of Red Kennitcot?
With that story of
agree with
him
that
and
whole
Katie.
how they
I
met,
love that.
him and Katie. And,
It starts in the elbow room.
Yeah.
starts in the
No,
elbow
I just
room,
love that
dude.
he was a sub for the date. He was a sub,
Yeah, he
guys.
wasn't
That
even
wasn't
supposed
even.
to
It wasn't
be there.
supposed to be
Yes.
It's
him.
meant to be.
Tell me
is
that's not
he was a
serendipity.
villain for his
Lifetime,
Yep.
Oxygen. What other channels we
And
got?
he was
You
probably
gotta
Hallmark,
pick
Hallmark,
this up.
He's
Hallmark.
like, I don't want to go. I'm not going to sub in. You have to
Find
convince
us.
him to go.
When the Florida Panthers won the cup, they went right to the elbow room to celebrate.
Yeah, good spot.
Yeah.
There you go. Love it.
We're huge fans.
We are.
Yes, we are.
I'm a fan of you guys. I talk about you all the time.
Thank you.
Like they're the best. They're hip. They're cool. They got the best marketing, the best people working there. So.
I second that. Motion approved.
I think I'm pretty cool. That's right, Vern. I'm so cool.
So cool.
Love
All
it.
right, Ryan, you're up.
Wait, Fern, do you want to sing for Paige? Because this is
His
like
voice is higher.
No,
You got to hire
no,
him.
but we can't break the chain. You're on 3 in a row.
Paige,
Come on.
do you
Sing something
have any
Chicago in.
hidden talents?
Sing
do you have
Chicago.
any hidden talents there? Do you sing? Do you
Oh,
play any
no.
instruments?
Any sports that you
No.
love?
No. I have no talents.
No, that's bullshit.
No, you got
You're
a lot
very
of talent.
talented. First of all, you had us all quiet for the first time in a really long time, so you're an amazing storyteller because we were all like this. Ah.
That didn't come out right. She's multi-talented, great mom,
Mm-hmm.
great businesswoman, comes from a
Thank
great
you.
family.
I appreciate that.
I met
I
you the
appreciate
first
that.
time when you needed to move some peonies, remember? That was like, what,
hmm
6-7 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
And ever since
Yeah, we
then.
had a lot of peonies that didn't get moved, and Red was like, "You should talk to Mike Black." He goes,
Really?
I think
He told you
was
that?
the first time. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
he did. He gave me the connection. He's like, I think this might be a way for us, to move him. You should talk to him. Here's his info. And then that's where
kidding.
I learned more about you. And I was telling Red, and I think he knew, but he's like, oh, wow, So
Awesome.
But yeah.
Thank you, Red.
That's so well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Thank you
pretty
very
cool.
much.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, we're asking some rapid fire questions. Okay, you ready?
Okay. All right.
Okay. What is your favorite flower?
Peony.
What is the best sandwich?
Oh, I love like an Italian.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wait, do you call them grinders, hoagies, or heroes? What are they called up there?
Subs.
Lenny says it's a
Yeah,
grinder.
sub. Yeah.
Okay.
Connecticut is a grinder.
Maybe in Chicago. I call him a sub. It would just
Is
be a
Bobby's
sub for me,
World
but I
from
know all those
Wisconsin?
terms.
Is that where Bobby's World, the
I don't
cartoon was?
remember.
Grinders are from New England.
Okay.
Hoagies are
I've
from
heard of all those terms though, so I would know what you're
South
talking about.
Philly. There's hoagies, I think.
What is Wisconsin known for? Cheese?
Cheese.
Mhm.
Is that where
The
Culver's
cheeseheads.
is
Cheese
from?
beer.
Yeah, cheesehead.
Culver's is
Yes.
Wisconsin? We just got those now.
Culver's custard.
Yeah, we just got those. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Have you been
Cheese
to one?
curds.
curds.
Good.
What
Yeah.
do they serve?
Anything cheese.
Burgers.
Burgers?
Yeah, burgers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Burgers
What,
and cheese curds and then custard.
at the moment, what is the scariest animal?
Oh God. I feel like a lion or tiger.
A bear.
Yes.
I'll give you $20 if you can say where that's from, though.
The Wizard of Oz.
Ooh.
No.
Give him the money.
Tigers and bears. Oh my.
Yeah,
Give him the money.
Singing in the,
Right.
During
Lions
the
and
road
tigers
trip.
and bears.
Break
I'm
out
thinking of
that
the ward
20.
trip.
Lion, tiger.
Break out that 20.
he got $2. Who carries cash nowadays?
Seriously.
Ryan will zell you.
I have 20. What is the most overrated flower?
Oh God.
You could say it.
Okay, I won't say it's overrated because I love them, but I feel like when people don't know flowers, and you guys are rose growers, so I love roses, but like they just go to the store to get a rose. Like they don't think anything outside the box of anything different. So I feel like if someone's just going, and I'm just talking about your grocery store traditional like red one, they're like, oh, I got you flowers, and it's just like the red roses, which like I'll still love and adore, but sometimes I'm like, don't you go look at go to a florist or go to like an assortment, something unique and different.
Something without a
For like your
barcode.
everyday. I feel like that's just,
Yeah.
that's just your basic, like, oh, I'm going to go get them red roses.
I was in.
So not overrated in the sense of roses.
I was in the elevator to go to Publix. Like, there's an elevator in the downtown one, and
What?
yeah, that's Connor's new Publix because I told him
The
to go
parking
there.
garage, you have to park.
So
in the
I was in the
elevator.
elevator, and there's a little girl, and she goes, "Mommy, can I get a soda?" And she was wearing her school uniform. And the mommy's like, "No, you can't get a soda. Whatever." And then she goes, "But you can buy anything else. What do you want?" She goes, "I want flowers." And I went like, I almost started crying. And then
She probably did cry.
and the mom goes, okay, we can get flowers. And she goes, I want the flowers for you. And then the mom says, no, you have to tell daddy to buy me roses. And then the little girl goes, but I don't want roses. I want flowers. So I was like, oh, who is this little girl? And put the Amber Alert out because I need to take her home with me. Like, I was like, I was like, how do I take this little girl home with me? She's so cute. But
Take
it
her
was so
home,
sweet because
put
she was
her
like,
in marketing.
but it's funny because that's what the mom said. She's like, no, you have to tell daddy to buy me roses. And the little girl's like, you can buy your own flowers.
I love that because how many times did you have a kid say that?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Why it's making he came in quick, so he'll make a
Yeah.
his little
Hi.
podcast.
Wyatt.
You got
His podcast debut.
Hey! We all did that at the same time. Hi, Wyatt.
Hey, where are we going?
He's got a dinosaur in his shirt.
Where you gonna go? He does. Where are you going? You gonna go to the farm?
Over us. She's like, look at these weirdos.
He's like, wait, I wasn't ready. I love you.
Oh.
Too cute.
I heard him coming up.
That's great.
So,
Okay, if you could pick.
but yeah, so just in that sense.
What?
Go ahead.
No.
With the roses, just in the sense of like that's what
Right.
people's go-to is, not the flower.
Gotcha. If you could pick one superpower, what would it be?
To know everything, like the answer to everything.
Mm,
To know what? Wait.
the
say again?
answers to everything.
Ooh, that's
The answer to everything.
good.
without having a phone.
Without
to
having a
search
giant head.
Yeah,
too.
no.
Like,
Yeah.
the oversized brain.
Without connecting to the internet.
I think that as a mom, you're gonna have more of that because I feel so stupid sometimes. Like it's like, Mom, why is this, and I'm like, it just is. Like, don't ask me those questions. Like, it's so hard to remember.
Yeah, because I said so.
Yeah, that's why.
We just make up an answer when they're really young.
Yeah, and then later on get in trouble for it.
Pick a movie or TV character to have lunch with.
Oh, gosh, this is like really getting me to think. Now I'm like in my head, wait, which shows do I watch? Because I feel like they're all on break. Or I think of like current things I've been watching.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
It could be any celebrity, a historical figure. There's really no rules.
I was gonna say, are we talking about the celebrity themselves or the character?
Ooh.
Either
That's
way.
up to you.
It's up to you.
Is it
I'm
the,
having like a
is it the are
in
you,
my head.
oh,
Wait,
one
wait,
quick
wait.
question.
We can skip
Are
it.
you about the mom talk, the Mormons, the new Mormon moms on the shows? Are you all about
I
that?
have not watched it,
I
but
haven't watched it either.
I haven't
Tyler
watched
told me
it
to watch
yet.
it. Ty told me to
Like,
watch it. I'm like, but everybody's
I've heard
talking
like when
about it.
people are like, "Oh, it's so interesting," and other people are like,
No.
"It's the most boring." I've heard both, like
Right.
of people on social media, but it's on my list when I have time. I'll just say because I don't know why, but they've been popping up, like sometimes on your YouTube, like the reels will pop up, and House has been popping up, and I think like the character of House would be like so funny to see. 'cause
Yeah.
he's
That's a
just
good
playing
one. I
with-
like that
I
answer.
like that. There's
That
a new
popped up,
one
so that
coming
kind of
out.
has been stuck in my head.
You know who else I like House is Monk. Like
Oh,
Monk.
Monk is
Your mother
good.
loved
Yeah.
Monk. The guy with the
Good.
I never
germaphobe.
watched
Yeah,
Monk.
that
It
was
was
a
fun.
good show.
German-
Tony
I've never
Tony
watched
Chano-
Monk.
Tony
Yeah.
Shalhoub.
But there's a new house coming out, a new doctor show that the guy is kind of like Dr. House. He doesn't.
Play by the rules.
I'm gonna have to look
Yeah.
out for that.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
an
okay, I'm gonna have to
advertisement
look
for
out for
it.
that.
Nice.
Yeah, we need to move away from all the murder movies and go back to like the doctor movies. I feel like we were all much more like we were so much smarter. We're like, oh, that must be that you have diverticulitis because I saw that on House. Now it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer, like you have all these informations about these murders. I'm like, let's go away from all the murder mysteries. You know what I mean? Like, let's go into the
Yeah.
happy stuff.
Let's go back to Scrubs.
Scrubs.
Scrubs, yep.
Okay. If after a late night of drinking, what's your go-to drunk food? If you could have anything you want after a late night of drinking.
Or what's the first drink you're gonna
Pizza.
have after the babies?
What?
Or
Pizza for food. The first drink, Captain and Coke. That's my
Captain
go-to.
Coke.
Oh yeah, she said she's a rum girl. Yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, a good Moscow Mule. That's my only other like
Mm.
where I do vodka.
Nice.
So, yeah, pizza for sure though with the drunk food.
So wait a
Did you
minute,
guess?
pizza like Chicago style or
Ooh.
traditional
Or New York
style?
I
or
like pizza in general,
just
but
what-
it's funny because if you were to ask my dad, like Chicago style is known for the deep dish, and I love deep dish. I couldn't eat it every day, but I love it. But if you ask like Chicago people, they'll be like, no, that's not
They want bar
what
pizza.
we're known
Yeah.
for. It's tavern
It's
style,
tavern
and it's not
style
cut
bar
triangle.
pizza.
It's
Squares.
cut in squares. It's not. Yep. But I love like I honestly will probably eat any pizza. And there's some where I'll be like, it's okay, and others like this is really good. But I just love pizza. So
Tavern pizza,
Pizza.
Joelle. Tavern pizza is fire.
bowling
Absolute
alley
fire.
pizza.
yeah, tavern.
Bowling alley.
No
Yeah,
way.
the old school bowling alley pizza is good.
No.
Yeah,
Is that like Chuck E.
No.
Cheese pizza?
it's
like
like
that idea?
Ilio's.
Chuck E. Cheese pizza was on Uber Eats during COVID. I thought that was hilarious.
Chuck E. Cheese pizza has conspiracy theory.
It's funny.
There's a conspiracy theory that
What is it?
what is the Chuck E. Cheese one?
So it's kind of like they slice up a pizza and they give like a certain slice to each kid, and they have like a remaining left of the pizza.
And then they'll put it back
So-
and sell it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I believe
So that no, but if you look at it, for
I've
some
heard that,
reason
yeah.
The slices don't perfectly match
the
up.
slices don't match up.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing if I was them.
That's
No, you
gross.
wouldn't.
Chuck E. Cheese, they know what they're doing. They're
I'm hoping when I go to visit Kennitcot's in Chicago that in the neighborhood there's some hole in the wall Chicago deep dish pizza spot that you don't like have to wait 2 hours.
Well, no, you have to get the
into.
tavern
No,
pizza.
You got it. You should go try tavern pizza
in Chicago.
in Chicago. You'll love it.
Okay,
You'll love it.
Yeah.
Well,
It'll be good. It'll be really good.
I will try it.
So, Paige, if someone wants to reach out to you, they want to buy some beautiful peonies or some of the many items that you grow, or they just want to learn about working in a family business and, the trials and tribulations, how can they contact you?
Well, by email, Paige at KennicotCuts.com. I am on Instagram, at Peony Paige, so you can find me that way too. That would be the two most easy ways to contact me that I'm on all the time.
I didn't realize that was her handle. I didn't know that was
that was your handle.
the actual nickname. I thought we were just having fun with that, and I like it even more now.
Page. Someone actually had an SAF event years ago. Like I was at the farm, like I wasn't doing the sales, but we were talking about Peony. She goes, "You're the Peony girl. She was like kind of on marketing. She goes, "Your Instagram should be Peony Page. You need to change it right now. That should be your handle. Like, what are you not using this for to market yourself?" And I changed it right then and there, and I haven't changed it back.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Future guest.
Could you suggest somebody that we should have as a future guest on the podcast?
Oh, let me think. Because there's obviously so many people. I know you guys have a lot too. As a grower, there's a customer that I deal with up here, and they basically are nurserymen, and they're called Cleason, and they buy a lot of our stuff, and they've grown like tremendously. They actually bought Star Valley, so they now own Star Valley, Cleason Wholesale. Star Valley obviously still operates under all their stuff because they've had that name brand. So Cleason would be a big one. Otherwise, I love Holland America and the Ben Dobie. Mm-hmm. He's awesome, and he's got some good stories. He'd be good to have on too, in my opinion. Him and his dad, they'd be a kick. So those would be my two suggestions.
I like it.
Thank you.
Fern, sing us off so you don't lose your...
Sing you? What do you mean, sing you off?
And now the end is near. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a good one, Mike.
Come on. He loves Saturday with Sinatra.
Oh, no, I can't do it, Sinatra.
We need one of those things that you blow into before you sing to give you the pitch.
Yeah, you do the little harmonizing.
Pitch pipe.
Pitch pipe. We got to get one of those on Amazon.
Man, too much pressure. Stop
Because
looking
we're all
at me,
staring
guys.
at
You're
him.
all staring at a fucking hole in my head. Good Lord.
That was funny.
God. And this has been another episode of Two Fat Guys Talking Flowers, where we're always gonna give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Joelle, Ryan, Mimi, Mike in the house, Paige, Peony Paige, awesome guest. I'm the Fern. Have a great day. Thank you for listening.